Load up the rocket ship with fuel. Strap yourself in. Pour yourself a cold one in. Pour yourself a cold one in. Go on a galaxy. Seek out new worlds and civilization.
Receiving incoming transmission.
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement.
The number one rated robot-related podcast. The number one rated robot-related podcast. The number one rated robot-related podcast.
Rusted Robot.
Everybody get up and slam now. We got a real jam going down. Welcome to the Space Jam Rusted Robot Podcast Crossover Extravaganza Spectacular. This is going to be episode 105 for the Space Jam and episode 186 for the Rusted Robot Podcast. I'm your host, Sean, and with me, as sometimes, is...
Brother Robin.
And friend Whit.
How you all doing?
We're good. How are you?
We're great.
We're great. We've had a hell of a week.
We've had a hell of a week. So, to do a bit of preamble, why are we doing a Rusted Robot Space Jam crossover episode? What happened that forced me to come to town early? I am sitting here on your couch, Brother Robin.
Yes, that's right.
In your basement, in your man cave, the underground bunker.
That's right.
Rusted Robot headquarters number 14. And we're doing an unscheduled crossover episode because the last two uncles on our mom's side of the family passed away, and I had to come to town to help clean up. And we won't go into details.
No, we won't.
But it's quite traumatic. And here we are doing a crossover episode.
Yeah, which we weren't expecting to do until at least Easter, when you said you were, Easter weekend, when you said you were coming back down.
That's true.
So your appearance here is random.
And unexpected.
I mean, I'm glad I got to see you, of course. And we get to do another crossover episode, so it's always fun when we get to do that. But
it is.
The situation behind it was a little unfortunate.
Yeah, and so because of that, I'm out of town. I don't have my podcast recording equipment. I could not do this past Thursday's SoulForge podcast. I didn't want to leave you with editing my podcast on your equipment, so there has been no SoulForge episode.
No.
But they got a bonus episode the previous week, so I think they're okay.
Well, I think they'll be doing okay then, yeah.
That is, what is that? SoulForgePodcast.com.
Check it out.
And we almost had to do 2 episodes as well, but we included the interview with the gentleman there. I forget his name.
Jeffrey Ashley.
Yes. He did the interview with you last Saturday. I couldn't be a part of it because of my work. I get off at 5:30, so I would have been like halfway there and be like, hey, let me just crash this conversation. I couldn't do so, but it was pretty good. I'm glad that you included it with our episode.
Yeah, I was debating on how to do that, and once again, I'd like to say a big thank you to Jeff for coming on to the podcast and doing that interview with me. And we had a really good conversation. I hope everybody listened to that last episode 104. It was quite enjoyable, and the conversation actually went a lot longer than I was expecting, because it was the first time we had actually talked over the phone. It was just a super cool, chill conversation. We talked about just about everything, and it went almost an hour. Like, it was almost an hour-long conversation.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to listen to it.
Oh, it's a good one. So I was debating on how to do that, whether to just do like a snippet of the interview and put it in our episode and then release the full interview as a separate episode. And then I said, you know what? No, it's too much work.
So what did you do?
So what did I do? Well, what I did was I just included it in the entire episode. So last week's episode almost ran 2 hours.
Oh, not bad. I've done things like that.
Yeah.
Hey, it looks like we have a special guest on the podcast. Who is this?
That is Milo.
Milo the cat.
Milo the cat.
Who has decided that she or he loves me and is looking at me with lust in his eyes, and he's kind of creeping me out. But
that's not a...
That cat does that.
That's what happens all the time.
Okay.
Like, I can't go anywhere in this house without that cat following me and laying on my leg. At least you don't bite, right?
That's right. That's good. Because I'm out of town, I have not had access to my regular daily dose and amount of pop culture goodness. The only thing that I've managed to come across is that Stanley was put in the hospital and then he was released from the hospital.
That's right. Yeah, I guess he wasn't doing too well. And they took him in last night. So it was Thursday night. And you know, I was just praying that I wasn't waking up on Friday morning to some bad news.
We don't need any more bad news.
We don't need any more bad news. And then so I woke up this morning and I went on Facebook and I seen an article about Stan Lee and my stomach just dropped.
It dropped.
Yeah. And I was like, oh no. And then I read, he went home, he's feeling great, and he sent a message out to everyone, and he's doing well. And I'm like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was up till about 5, so I kind of was checking everything. CNN, fake news, which is, you know, whatever. But sometimes, once in a while, they put out real news. So I was checking that. I was checking Twitter. I was checking Facebook, everything. The social medias, if you will. And nothing about Stan Lee dying. So I was like, okay, I'm going to bed. Hopefully I wake up and he's not dead.
And so far, so good.
So far, so good.
We are recording this on Friday, February 2nd, Groundhog Day. Your daughter's 12th birthday.
That's right.
Your birthday's coming up on the 7th. You're going to be 32.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep, so that's what this is. This episode is going to come out on the Sunday.
That's right. Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, is it Super Bowl this weekend?
Super Bowl Sunday. That's right.
I could not even care a little bit about that.
Well, I'm not.
Are you big into football?
I am big into football, but I'm not a fan of the teams involved.
I see you're wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers hat.
Yes.
Is that football?
That is football.
That's football.
And Pittsburgh Steelers is not in the Super Bowl.
It's also a Sioux team, but that's not who's
the
playing.
Sioux Steelers.
Yes. What do they play?
They play football.
They play football too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is a little confusing, but it does add a little bit more merchandise options in the Sioux.
It does.
Well, I have been staying this week at Brother Curtis's house, just down the road from you.
That's right.
And last night and the night before, there were 2 Toronto Maple Leaf hockey games, and they were both against different New York teams.
Oh, so you mean the New York Rangers and the New York Islanders?
Yes, I did mean that. And both times, the Maple Leafs got shutouts.
Oh, well, good
So
for them.
that was very interesting.
With 2 different goalies, might I add.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, see,
First night it was with Frederick Anderson, the next night it was Curtis McElhinney.
I didn't know that. But that's the extent of my sports knowledge.
Yep.
Who is playing at this year's Super Bowl, and what Super Bowl number is it? I know it's LII or something.
52.
Is that 52?
Yeah.
Or is that
I believe
62?
No, it's 52.
I believe it's 52.
Yeah, and it's the not the Pittsburgh. Wow.
Wow.
Okay, we got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the obvious New England Patriots because they have to win all the time.
Yeah.
So who's going to win?
Probably the New England Patriots.
Because guess who's back, everybody? The Gronk.
The Gronk has been cleared to play this Sunday, taken off of the concussion protocols.
I don't know who that is.
Well, he's a big boy.
Yeah.
He's one of their star attractions, if you will.
Oh, the only person I know who was taken
A
off...
franchise player.
Oh. The only person I know who was taken off for concussions was Sidney Crosby, but I don't think that's the same sport.
No, that's...
Or the same team. Or the same city.
Not quite.
No, eh?
No.
Okay.
You're on the right path. You're just nowhere close.
I'm nowhere close.
Gronkowski likes to play video games, too, on his off time.
He does.
It's like, how, though? You're genetically jacked. Like, how?
I want to talk about, and we're not going to get into the whole kit and caboodle of it, but let's just touch on the fact that this last weekend was, of course, the WWE Royal Rumble.
Oh, was it?
And we had some interesting returns.
Question. Is it still 30 people who go in?
Yes.
It is.
And
And
now
it's
it's
still 2
women,
minutes
too?
apart or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or every 90 seconds.
Whatever it was?
However, this year, they made history, and they had the first ever 30-woman Royal Rumble match as well.
Oh, so it was not women and men mixed. It
No.
was 2 separate matches.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay, because I did see on Facebook that some woman had won it.
That's right.
I don't know who she was. I didn't watch it.
Well,
Tell me more.
Okay, and it's funny because remember, maybe about a month ago, we did an episode where we talked about Japan quite a bit.
Yeah, it was mentioned a lot.
And,
Oh,
well,
yes.
coming back full circle,
The infamous Japan episode.
the infamous Japan episode, both winners of the Royal Rumble matches
We're from Japan.
were from Japan.
Is that true?
That's right.
Yes.
Asuka winning the women's Royal Rumble match, and Shinsuke Nakamura winning the men's Royal Rumble match.
With the Rumbles being the talk, I thought for sure that they were going to put Nia Jax in the men's, having her get tossed over and then going in the women's, so that you have a little bit more history there with a woman being in both Rumbles on the same night, but maybe
Okay.
we'll get that next
So
year.
question.
maybe.
They were both on the same night.
Yes.
They weren't concurrent. They were separate. They were one after another.
Yeah, it wasn't like the guy wins and then all of a sudden he gets tossed over by the woman and then they start their rumble.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It was 2 separate matches.
Okay.
And there was other matches as well. We saw, some cool returns of past superstars as well.
Oh, like Tito Santana?
No.
Oh.
But Hurricane Helms was one of them.
I don't
think
know who that is.
Stand back! There's a hurricane coming through!
My last reference to wrestling is in the late 80s, so I can't give you any information from the last 30 years.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, wait, late 80s.
About 88.
Nobody was...
88 was
Undertaker,
my,
maybe?
There was an Undertaker back, maybe in the up to the early 90s was
Okay.
when I followed it, maybe for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Yeah, you weren't ever really into it. That's fine.
yeah, from 85 to 92 probably.
Yeah. The women's Royal Rumble match had some pretty cool returns, though.
They had way too many of those surprise entrants because they didn't have the roster to fill
No, they
the Royal
didn't,
Rumble.
which we assumed was going to happen, but we got to see the likes of Lita, Trish Stratus, Molly Holly.
And I called that too.
Beth
I was like,
Phoenix.
"Where's Mighty Molly?" Because Hurricane is there.
Was Sable there?
No.
No,
That's somebody, right?
It is somebody.
I remember that name.
She's actually married to Brock Lesnar.
Is that somebody?
Yes.
I know that name, but
he's a big guy.
is he a big guy?
He is
He's the
a former
Universal-
UFC heavyweight champion,
Yes.
NCAA champion.
NCAA champion, and a multiple-time WWE World Heavyweight champion, and the current
Reigning.
WWE Universal Champion.
and he was a New
okay.
Japan champion too.
That's right, yeah.
Is that true?
He also tried his hand in football, but got cut from the training camp.
Vikings.
Oh,
Yes.
that's sad. Okay, well that's the extent of my wrestling knowledge.
Okay, well, we're not going to stick on that topic all day because we know not all of our listeners are a big fan of listening to us drivel on about wrestling, and if you have no knowledge, there's no point in boring you to death.
I wouldn't say I have no knowledge. I have limited amounts.
Limited amount of knowledge, all right. Not a whole lot else that I really have myself. It's been a really hectic week.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with pub culture when you're knee deep in a big mess.
Yes, that's very true.
I don't mean to laugh, but
What we do know is Black Panther is right around the corner.
And apparently, it's had its world premiere.
Yes.
And it's friggin' fantastic.
That's what they're saying.
4?
that
What?
was my Fantastic Four joke.
Oh,
I'll see my way out now.
See your way out. So Black Panther is apparently epic and amazing.
The best Marvel movie ever, they're saying.
Of course, they're saying that.
We have
But
2 weeks. 2 weeks to find out.
we have 2 weeks to find out. And within also the next couple of weeks, supposedly we're going to get a trailer for the Venom movie.
That's the one starring Tom Hardy.
That is correct.
Right. Not the poet from the 1900s, but
No.
Tom Hardy, the actor who played Shinzon in Star Trek Nemesis in 2002, Picard's clone.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't that Picard's clone?
He
And
also
he
played
also-
Bane.
yes.
Yes, among
Yes.
other people.
Oh yes, you can't forget about the Bane.
That's right.
Yeah, so the trailer for Venom's coming out soon.
Hopefully.
And-
And I'm hoping... Okay, I'm still a little hesitant on it, though.
Oh,
because
it's exciting.
I'm still a little hesitant because of how bad they ruined Venom in Spider-Man 3, and I know this is not that.
That was 10 years ago.
Dude,
Time to get
I'm
over it.
aware.
Oh, that was 10 years ago. I remember going that opening night.
Yeah, me too. See, Venom being my favorite character of all time.
Oh, like of all time? Like of any genre of anything?
Yeah.
Really?
See, mine's Thor, so no, mine's Hulk. So like, I get a.
Is it Thor or is it Hulk?
Well, I like Hulk and then Thor, so they're kind of there. When they changed Thor's character to a female, I still thought she was a badass. Whatever, but Hulk was always my
Yeah,
favorite.
Venom is, for me, and Black Cat. Those are my two ultimate favorites. Nonetheless, I'm a little scared for this. I guess I can just wait until we see what the trailer drops. We do know that they're adapting the Lethal Protector storyline.
I don't know this storyline. Can you explain it to me?
Yes, I can. It's one of my favorite comic book arcs, actually. Lethal Protector, Venom, is in San Francisco.
Okay.
So he's gone from New York. He's kind of an anti-hero at this point.
Oh, like the Punisher.
Yeah, and he goes after criminals and whatnot, but he just basically ends them. No justice. There's just death.
Okay.
Essentially. And it basically revolves around the Life Foundation, which is this corporation, and they are doing all these studies and research, and they carry on with the symbiote research, creating new symbiotes.
Oh.
And they end up becoming villains, of course.
Of course.
And at one, and then throughout that Venom series, him and Spider-Man do team up. But we're getting Tom Holland in this movie, apparently, as Peter Parker.
But not as Spider-Man.
So.
You know what I would like to see in a Venom movie? Some carnage.
That's the rumor. Rumor has it.
You say you're scared about the Venom movie itself, and no, I'm scared about the casting of Carnage. I don't care with the movie. I'm more afraid of who's Carnage. And
yeah, that's a very delicate choice who you pick for that character, because Cletus Cassidy, we've had this discussion. He's unhinged. He's insane. You would, and I always go back to this example: Jim Carrey in the movie The Number 23.
Yeah,
but is he too old now?
But
yes, I would say, but that would be perfect fantasy casting. Yes, it would have been Jim Carrey.
How about John Bernthal? He's Punisher.
He's Punisher.
But would he do a good job? Because he can seem like he's pretty unhinged.
I think that would... I don't know, because...
He's the perfect Punisher for me,
Yeah, he is a perfect Punisher. See, and you got to remember, with Cletus Cassidy, he's not a big guy.
Oh, he's small.
He's scrawny. He's kind of scrawny. He's got a little bit of mass to him, but he's not anything like where Eddie Brock is. Eddie Brock is built like a brick house.
And he's more agile and in your face, like kick your...
Yeah. So, it's all about just getting the right ingredients, I think, for it to work. And I'm really hoping, I'm pulling for it, honestly. But.
Yeah.
My casting choice, obviously, still the dude who played Rorschach, Jackie Earl, whatever.
Haley.
Yeah.
He's old, though.
I'm cool with an old Carnage.
All right.
I'm cool with that, because I think he would do a good job as him, too.
Well, if you're cool with it, then it's got my seal of approval. Can I get a witness?
When you're locked in here with me. Like, that's just, it was totally Rorschach, but I think he could do a better Carnage.
He did a decent Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
I never did see that film.
That's okay. The Hellhounds scared the cahoots out of me. Oh, yeah. Again, you're worried about the plot and everything. I'm worried about the casting. They had hints of that. Was it East Indian fellow?
Yeah, but that's not who...
No,
that was the rumor. That was a rumor, but he's playing somebody from, I guess, the Life Foundation, one of the main...
Yeah. One of the main components to Carnage being created.
Yeah.
So, with Black Panther coming out and Infinity War right after it, I have two guesses of what's going to happen. We're going to see the Last Stone in this movie, Black Panther.
We have to.
Maybe Thanos has it. We don't know yet. We'll see if the stone is in this movie. I'm going to guess that they fight over the stone. Black Panther and I forget his name already. The villain of this movie, they fight over the stone.
Oh, Ghost.
Yeah. So they're going to fight over the stone.
Oh, no, that's sorry. Not Ghost. Because we just watched the Ant-Man and Wasp trailer, so I was confused. Sorry.
We did watch the Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer.
That's right.
You know what I wanted to watch today? Because it's Friday, as we're recording this, on Netflix, the new series Altered Carbon has come out, and I was hoping to binge watch it, but I'm not at home, so
that won't be happening this weekend. I'll tell you that much.
No, it won't. Cause
tell me what's that show about?
That's the one where you your body's like a sleeve, and you can almost live forever because you just keep downloading your consciousness.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you were talking about that. Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. I'm hoping it's great. I don't know. I feel like I'm slacking and way backed up on my pop culture. But I did enjoy the Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer. Do you play trailers in your podcast?
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes you do, because we do all the time.
Yeah.
But you, my friend, my brother, my compadre, my compatriot, are doing the editing on this podcast this weekend. I have no control over that.
You have zero control.
You're just going to send me the link for the thing, and I'm going to upload it to my feed.
Okay, well, if we were to play the Ant-Man and Wasp trailer in the podcast, we would do it right now.
I just have one question. When Cap needed help, if I'd asked you, would you have come?
I guess we'll never know. But if you had, you'd have never been caught.
I do some dumb things, and the people I love the most, they pay the price.
Thanks to you, we had to run. We're still running.
Let's go.
Maybe you just need someone watching your back. Like a partner.
Hold on. You gave her wings and blasters. So I take it you didn't have that tech available for me? No, I did.
But if we don't, then you can just find it on
You're
YouTube.
supposed to pause when we say that.
Yeah, you're supposed to pause.
That's
So I was going to
cute.
put it in.
Oh, am I
and then
supposed
you f***ed it up.
Am I supposed? You can still do it.
Relax.
I
Holy-
always do that. Like, why do you guys tell me to relax? I'm saying it as a joke.
No,
Chill.
that was aggressive.
It wasn't
That
aggressive.
was a
I'll
little
show you
aggressive.
aggressive.
I'd like to see aggressive. Anyway, moving right along. That was a fantastic Ant-Man and Wasp trailer. What's her name? Kate from Lost. What the heck is her name?
Evangeline Lilly?
She is gorgeous as always.
Yes, she is.
Hubba hubba.
Hubba hubba.
Honka honka.
Yes. She almost looks like the elf from the Hobbit movies.
Yeah.
She's pretty similar to that actress, whoever that was.
Yes.
So on the horizon is Infinity War, and I'm gonna guess that a lot of characters are gonna die. Two of the stones, the Mind and Time Stone, or Soul Stone maybe,
Yeah.
brings them back, reverts time,
Well, there
and
is...
then they beat Thanos.
I really like Paul Rudd as Ant-Man.
I like him as Ant-Man too.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's in this movie though.
He
I don't
is.
think
It's,
he's
it's
in
called
the-
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
No,
so yes,
Infinity-
he's in
Infinity
it.
War.
But we're talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I had to add my point.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
because I did two predictions.
Right. See, I'm not used to podcasting with you, buddy, here. So the flow is a little bit different from me and Josh doing a podcast. So this way here, it's a different dynamic. It's kind of fun.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's-
You guys swear and we don't, but hopefully you
I'm
edit
trying
that
to
out.
contain myself.
Yeah, we're trying to limit it. Our
Cursing?
foul language.
We're going from shits to craps and F's to
Not so
darn.
much.
Yeah.
So I think what I'll have to do is put an E on my podcast thing when I upload it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, clearly, because it's not a regular episode.
It isn't.
for Rusted Robot.
That's right. We usually edit it anyways pretty good.
Oh,
though.
do ya?
Yeah. If it's if it's a crossover and there's language that might soil the
Language.
ears of everyone in this world because everyone can't take anything anymore and they're all offended and they're all upset and we got to change the language
Well, you see-
to more PC audiences.
It's not
because
necessarily that.
people just get upset over everything, including our
See, we've kind of branded the Rusted
Canadian
Robot.
national anthem.
Right, but we've branded the Rusted Robot podcast as family friendly, so you can listen to it in the car with your kids.
Well,
So you can
I'm sure
still-
kids have heard a lot worse than what they're going to hear on here.
Yes, but if they haven't, we don't want to be the one that introduces that word into their vocabulary. So they have to ask, "Hey, Dad, I heard on the Rusted Robot somebody say blah blah blah, and I've never heard that word. What does it mean?"
I don't feel, and I'm not taking any jabs at you here, brother, but I don't ever see that scenario coming up, ever.
You don't know how many people discuss the podcast after listening to it with their family. You don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I have a pretty good idea.
It's probably zero,
It probably is.
but there's a chance that it might not be. So I would like to keep our feed clean as possible.
well, that's fine.
we do throw in the occasional badass and stuff, but other than that,
Kids say badass.
this Ant-Man on the Wasp trailer.
Yes.
Are we going to go see it in theaters?
We are.
When does it come out? Do we know?
I will look it up. right
Later
now.
on, I think July, maybe?
Okay.
Or is it May? No, because
May.
May is
Infinity War.
Infinity War and Deadpool 2, and I think...
I thought Deadpool 2 was in June.
It was, and then they moved it back.
Did they?
Yes.
Huh.
So,
When to?
2 weeks after... 2 weeks! Infinity War
Okay, because the Han Solo movie
is right in between it.
it comes out on May 25th.
Yeah.
So Deadpool's in the middle of Infinity War and Han Solo.
That's what the reports were, yeah.
So May is going to be an expensive month.
It is. I think Ant-Man comes out in maybe June or July, I want to say.
I'm getting there. Hang on.
So we'll just fill up our airspace here while he's looking up on
Absolutely.
his phone. And
Apparently we're getting a Woody Woodpecker movie, too.
that was pretty horrible.
It was.
Oh, and the first Purge. Don't forget about that.
Oh, the first Purge, because there already hasn't been 14 purges.
Has there been 14 purges?
Like 3, I
Three
think.
purges?
3 purges?
2 of them are good.
Not enough real purges. That's all I'm saying.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Because that's what I heard.
Well, I also heard something. I don't know what it was I heard. But anyways, please carry on where you were going with that.
Where was I going with that?
Valentine's Day is around the corner. We
Hang
got
on,
no
hang on,
dates.
hang on.
We got
Okay,
no
wait,
dates.
wait.
Did you find it?
Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out July 6th, 2018.
July what?
July 6th?
July 6th of this year. Okay.
Yes. They didn't add Deadpool to their movie list, though. They're a part of the universe now.
I heard that it's going to be a long time before the X-Men are connected to anything else.
Yeah, it probably will be. We're probably looking at we're still probably a few years away. There was something I came across, an article. I didn't get a chance to actually read the entire thing today, but I saw the headline.
What? You saw a headline?
I saw a headline, and I don't know if it was maybe a rumor or it was just somebody blowing smoke.
It was probably a rumor.
Probably. But for Black Panther 2, they want to introduce Storm, obviously from the X-Men, into the Black Panther universe.
Is that true?
In the comics,
I think I did hear about this.
At one point in the comics, Black Panther and Storm get married.
Oh.
And they do things
that married people do?
That married people do.
Huh. Like go on dates to fancy restaurants.
That's
How about this
right.
hand gesture? No?
Well, our listeners can't see it, but
That's
I
good.
imagine that they can imagine it. I imagine that they can
PG
imagine.
terms would say coitus.
That's right. Coitus.
Yeah.
Okay, so
They have Wakandan coitus.
great. So Storm is going to be in Black Panther 2, perhaps.
Perhaps.
And it's not going to be Halle Berry?
I don't know.
Well, no. Well, see,
Or-
now,
or
because this...
the new girl who played the new Storm.
It could be anybody because it'll be an entirely new casting.
Yeah, after Phoenix, Dark Phoenix, the universe is now in the MCU.
Oh, did I hear that they're canceling the Gambit movie?
Yes, again.
No, they push production.
Oh yeah, they pushed production back again. So it's not canceled. It's just sitting in development hell.
Do you know
limbo,
why, though?
if you will.
Do you know why it's sitting in development hell?
No.
Because nobody wanted it at first. Then Channing Tatum became this big superstar.
Yeah.
And
If it's not Taylor Kitsch, it's nothing. I don't want to hear about it.
so now they have to deal with the whole Fox now belongs to Disney shenanigans.
All your foxes belong to us.
Yes, exactly. The property's now Disney.
Yeah.
Your Gambit is now our Gambit, whether you like it or not. So now they have to deal with that.
That's
Try
a real...
to involve it in the universe.
You could almost say it's a real gamble.
Oh, ba-dum-bump. That's clever. I see what you did there.
Thank you.
What was my joke earlier? It's a really bad one.
It wasn't very memorable, obviously, because
No,
we can't
because I
recall
said
it.
I'd see my way out.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
I'll just see my way out now.
Yeah.
It's your turn. It's all you now.
I'll see what I can do. I'll come up with something witty and clever.
Witty?
That was pretty close.
That was really cool.
Thanks. And that's funny for listeners who don't know because that's your last name.
That's right.
C-O-U-L-L.
C-O-U-L-L. That's
Yeah.
correct.
We'll see you losers later while I leave.
Okay.
Get it, Vander?
Well, this was...
Ah.
Oh, boy. We're just falling apart at the seams here.
It's okay.
That's all
We're
right.
looking at movie dates and we lost our way.
That's fine.
But yeah, lots to look forward to. I'm sure
It's going to
DC
be...
will have a good run.
It's an expensive year.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Always is.
And how about Patty Jenkins being snubbed at the Oscar nominations there?
So did James Franco, and I'm upset about that.
You know, I didn't pay any attention to any of those award ceremony things going on.
James Franco won a Golden Globe.
Did he? Okay.
And then the next day he was accused of sexual
yes,
assault.
I think we covered that already. But
Oh, was he? Him too?
yeah,
Stupid.
because if you aren't being outed as a sexual assaulter,
Yeah.
then I don't know. It's
You're
just-
not normal.
You're not normal.
Sometimes I wonder if it's not actually sexual assault and it's just flirting.
That's probably what it is.
I don't know because I'm
Most
not there,
likely.
and I don't want to say because I'll get skinned alive. But I don't know.
Example.
They overreact, I think.
I think there's a lot of overreaction. For example, I sit down beside you and I put my hand on your knee like this,
Yeah.
and I just say, "How you doing?" And that's all. It's not anything sexual. It's not a grope. But they're gonna say, "I groped you, and you felt uncomfortable with me, doing that."
Well, your hand is kind of warm.
It is a little warm, but it's because it was in oil all day.
The James Franco accusation was a girl was in his car alone with him, and he said something about, things and stuff. And of course, 10 years later, she comes out of the woodwork and says, well, hey, he was in a car with me and proceeded to go forward with these, actions.
Instant fame and instant celebrity and money is the way to the top in 2018, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing things the wrong way. We're in the wrong business, clearly.
I don't want you to finish that thought because I'm not a toucher.
Yeah, this is a very touchy subject. So I think we'll just leave it right here because we don't know what happened.
We don't.
We weren't there.
That's a touchy subject.
So anyway, moving right along, what else have we got on the agenda for the Rusted Robot Space Jam podcast today?
Your
we
guess
had a name
is as
for
good
this,
as mine.
by the way. What was the name?
What was the name?
Yeah, the name of our crossover that we do every time.
Oh, you're going to have to ask me to go back to episode 9.
The Space Rust?
The Space Rusted Jam Robot something? I don't really recall.
It doesn't even matter.
It doesn't really matter.
But
what matters is we're here
though.
together and we're all recording this tantalizing episode for your ear holes to enjoy.
It is tantalizing. This is what, our 4th or 5th crossover?
Yeah,
something like that? I haven't been keeping track.
Me neither. I remember our first one, I believe, was number 9.
Okay.
And that was after we went and seen
Batman
versus Superman.
Oh, yes. Yes, that was a few years ago.
Yeah, and that was just over 2 years. Yeah, just about 2 years ago.
Didn't you guys just have your 2-year anniversary?
We did.
Last week.
Because
we forgot about it.
Yeah, because a month ago we had our 4-year anniversary.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
Episode 181.
There it is. Yeah, last week would have marked our 2-year anniversary. And it was just a couple of years ago we started this little adventure, and I would like to say, and I'd like to think that our quality and our episodes have only gotten better.
Is that true?
And stronger
since episode 1, yeah.
Since episode 1, oh, absolutely.
Well, it takes a good 15 to get really comfortable.
It does.
And stop clapping.
It takes about 75 to get good.
Yeah, we finally, I think, found our voice. We found our tempo, if you will.
Right.
What we encompass, basically. We try not to go off the rails too much, but sometimes we do. And those are special episodes where we'll have little now trending segments and rants and raves, and we kind of spruce it up a little.
Every episode is special.
Yeah, every episode is special.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Hello, it's the UK correspondent Furbob here with a special report for the Rusted Robot Podcast. Regular listeners to the Rusted Robot Podcast will remember that last week there was a reference to the Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency program. This was created by Douglas Adams, who sadly passed away before he could see it come to fruition on TV. Originally made by ITV Studios and released on BBC 4, the programme was not a great success. However, a few years later, BBC America commissioned Max Landis to write a new version of the series. It is this version that I'll be talking about today. Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency is a BBC America comic science fiction detective series, created and primarily written by Max Landis. The 2 seasons are adapted from the novel series of the same name by Douglas Adams. The series is co-produced and distributed by BBC America and Netflix, along with AMC Studios. Filming primarily took place in Vancouver, British Columbia, for the first season.
Where to begin? This show is sort of about a lot. So, my name is Dirk Gently.
Hi.
I'm a holistic detective, and by that, I mean I investigate cases not through pesky thinking and logic and deduction, but in a more naturalistic way, in that I just sort of wander around and trust the universe to use me to work out the problems that need solving. I'm on my way. I was hired to investigate the murder of reclusive billionaire Patrick Spring, which is how I met my assistant, Todd. Stop. I am not your assistant. Sidekick? No. I'm Todd Brodsman. I used to be the lead singer in a punk band, but that kind of fell apart. I made a lot of mistakes. I was working at the hotel where Patrick Spring was murdered. That's how I met Dirk. He broke into my apartment and hijacked my life into total chaos. We ended up on the run from a cult, trapped in an underground maze, kidnapped, and finally going back in time. Honestly, we couldn't have done any of it without Farah.
Did you say my name?
Yeah, I was talking about the cult.
We promised not to talk about that.
Well, do you want to...
Black. Farah Black. I was Patrick Spring's bodyguard and took it upon myself to find his daughter after he was killed. And that's how I met Dirk, Todd, and his sister.
His sister? Really? That's all I get. His sister.
Just kidding.
I am Amanda Brodsman. I spent the last 5 years of my life trapped by a disease called pararibulitis that causes painful hallucinations that feel completely real. My brother was my hero, till I found out that he lied to me about basically everything.
Hey, loser.
I thought my life was over until I met the Rowdy Three, a group of anarchist vampires who can feed on the energy from my disease. So I'm with them now.
Trapped with a bunch of crazies. I can relate to that.
Who are you?
I'm Ken.
Did we even meet each other in the first season?
I was kind of busy. Going as fast as I can! I was hired to do some grid hacking by some shady types, but then I got kidnapped by a woman I thought was insane. But in this mass murderer I found...
What? Murder? Come on, I don't murder people, I just kill them.
With murdering, yes.
I'm an assassin, my name is Bart. Nothing can hurt me. I'm guided by the will of destiny itself to kill all the people who are supposed to die, okay? And so far, that's pretty much everybody I meet. Death comes for everybody. And if death don't get you, I will.
Excuse me, we're not done here. My name is Hugo Friedkin. I was in the Army Reserves when I was pulled onto a special top-secret mission for a program called Blackwing.
Blah, 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 top secret,
It didn't go perfect. But I did my best, and they put me in charge of the whole operation. Because that's how the government works, I guess. So, Season 2 is just me winning, and everyone congratulating me, I guess.
We'll see.
The series features an ensemble cast, including Samuel Barnett as the holistic detective Dirk Gently. Barnett is primarily a stage actor with a number of small roles in TV. So who is Dirk Gently?
Dirk Gently is a holistic detective, so the way he works is that he has this kind of slightly lame superpower, which is that he receives messages, intuitions from the universe, and can interpret those as connections between things that other people wouldn't necessarily be able to see. The thing is, he never knows what to then do with any of that information he receives. So he thinks he's a fantastic detective. He's actually terrible. The TV show and the radio show were quite straight adaptations, I felt, of the first two books. And it's what Max has done is just brilliant, because he's taken the sort of authenticity of that world in the books, and then he's absolutely turned that into something new, modern, updated, and completely within Adams' world, but totally freaky.
Gently's reluctant sidekick Todd is played by Elijah Wood, best known as Frodo Baggins in Lord of the Rings. So what's Todd's story then?
Oh, Todd. Todd is a character that we meet in the first episode who's having probably the worst day of his life. He works as a bellboy for a hotel, and his life kind of comes crumbling down around him very quickly within the context of the first episode. In terms of who he is, that's sort of revealed throughout the course of the show, but he's not quite as he seems initially, and in some ways, he's he's at his own fault for getting to the place in his life that he's at when we meet him. And he's, you know, he meets Dirk in the first episode, and Dirk essentially sort of ingratiates himself into his life and says, "You're my assistant. This is what we're doing this case." And Todd wants nothing to do with it, of course. And then as more information about the case sort of starts to unravel and evolve, and the more that what the crazy things that Dirk Gently is saying to him becomes possibly true, the more he becomes genuinely invested in the case.
Other main cast members include Jade Eshete as Security Officer Farrah Black. Jade started out as a model before turning to the stage, and then some small TV roles before landing a main role in Dirk Gently. So who is Farrah Black?
Yes, Farrah Black is a brooding tactical genius bodyguard. She basically makes sure that Dirk, the title character, and Todd, his reluctant assist friend, as he likes to call him, they get themselves into some pretty precarious situations. So Farrah comes in to make sure that they don't kill themselves, keep things on the up and up. She can be definitely... Someone described her in the first episode as just having a bad day. It's definitely the case. She can be really, neurotic, little OCD, kind of frustrated at herself at times when she doesn't perform at the level that she, holds herself to. So there's a lot of comedy and heart in that, I think, as well.
But had Jade been aware of the books and the previous TV series?
I was introduced to Douglas Adams through this project. It was really exciting to me to see the world that Douglas Adams, created in his books, and then see how Max had a whole new, fresh take on it. A lot of the, original characters and tone is still there, but I mean, it's a completely new, I think, exciting take on the entire thing. So for me, it was kind of exciting to see that come to life.
Fiona Jourif plays the holistic assassin Bart. Originally a male part in the books, the decision to change the gender of the character is a stroke of genius. This means there are 3 main female parts and 3 main male parts. All the females are strong characters, which is great to see. Fiona Jourif is best known for her role in 2 of the Child's Play films, in which her father, Brad Jourif, plays the voice of Chucky. Brad also starred in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, played Grimmer Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings, Doc Cochran in Deadwood, and Lon Suda in Star Trek Voyager, the only man in Star Trek franchise to murder a fellow Federation crew member. The character of Bart is brilliantly written and superbly acted. Jourif blends a beautifully naive childlike quality with a ruthless, relentless killer who believes everyone she kills was meant to be killed, as she is a holistic assassin. So what did Fiona think of the character of Bart?
I love Bart. I love Bart more than any other character I've ever played. I think of Bart as a very lonely girl who's just trying to do her best. The great thing about the show is that all of the loose pieces actually add up in the end. That's tribute to Max Landis. And so I would ask him something about Bart, and he'd be like, "Oh, let me tell you, when in 5th grade, this happened and this happened." He has every specific detail of the character's history mapped out in his head, unlike I've ever seen with a writer. There's nothing he doesn't know about the story. And then I embellished and made it my own. So.
Todd's sister Amanda is played by Hannah Marks, another actor with a number of small TV roles, and a small part in The Amazing Spider-Man. Mapo Koaho plays a computer technician called Ken. Ken is kidnapped by Bart and is absolutely terrified by her, but as the show develops, he begins to believe in the holistic universe and accepts his role in it. He follows Bart on her quest to kill Dirk Gently. The 8-episode first season premiered on BBC America on October the 22nd, 2016, to positive reviews, before concluding on December the 10th, the same year. All episodes were made available on Netflix, outside of the United States, in December 2016. In November 2016, BBC America renewed the series for a 10-episode second season, which premiered on the 14th of October, 2017. Following the broadcast of the second season finale, BBC America announced the show's cancellation due to dwindling viewing figures. A Change.org petition for Season 3 renewal was launched soon after the cancellation, amid calls for Netflix to continue production without BBC America as a co-producer. If you have watched this show and enjoyed it, I urge you to go to Change.org, search for Dirk Gently, and add your name to the petition. It would be such a shame to see a fantastic series, so beautifully written, in the same spirit of Douglas Adams, be consigned to the scrap heap because of a lack of funding. The quality of acting and the actors involved in this project are amazing. There is no way that this should be allowed to disappear off Netflix. I urge you, if you haven't seen it, to go and see it. It is amazingly complex, but all of the loose ends are tied up at the end. It all makes sense. What happens in the first episode is reflected in the last episode. I think it is one of the best tributes to Douglas Adams' work that this series was not only made as a radio series, as a BBC production, but also as a BBC America production. Even though this was written by Max Landis, who had never met Douglas Adams, you can feel Douglas Adams' influence all the way through. Sadly, Max Landis is another person who has been accused of sexual harassment. So whether he gets to write another one or not, I don't know. And if somebody else was to write it, would it be as good? Maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. But in either case, please go and watch this. It is an amazing piece of work. Thanks very much for listening to me, and I will return you now back to Sean and Josh and Kitty. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Now, I talked to Josh, my co-host on The Rusted Robot.
Yes.
And I told him I was out of town, and he said him and Shane were maybe going to record something on their phone.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything more about it. So I'm not sure how that's going to get incorporated, if it's going to be a bonus episode.
Well, it's quite easy, actually. If you record on your phone with the little recorder that comes installed,
yeah,
and all you got to do is simply take your USB charging cable and plug it into your phone, and then plug it into your computer, and then you can transfer that audio file.
Oh, I know how that works.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
I've done that before.
I don't know how I'm going to incorporate it into the feed of the Rusted Robot. Is what I mean.
Right.
Yes,
I gotcha.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure you'll figure it out because you are a smart man.
Sometimes, not when it comes to women, for the most part, but in other life.
You're doing better than us.
You're doing better than us. That's right.
Well, that doesn't take a lot. So
no, it really doesn't.
You know,
that's just how it goes in that situation.
Hey, so what else have we got on the agenda here? I have nothing left in the pop culture because, like I said, I have no access to anything.
Well, I think overall it's been a pretty slow week.
Oh, hey, are you going to come up to Timmins for the April 21st and 22nd weekend for the 8th Annual Northern Ontario Expo Timmins Comic Con?
You gosh darn right I am.
Do you know who's going to be there as our special guests?
I had heard about one of them, but the name is slipping me right now.
Chris Holden Reed and Paul Amos are both coming, as well as Brampton Batman and the 1989 Batmobile.
That is awesome. I think I'm going to go just for that.
I'm going to have a booth and sell some of my collectible toys.
Oh!
Because I don't want to be a hoarder.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And what else is happening? I don't know. We're going to have fun and games. It's going to be adventurous.
2 days? 3 days?
2 days, the Saturday and the Sunday.
Okay.
April 21 and 2. And other than that, an amazing adventure every year.
That's right.
So you should come.
I will be.
You should be.
I've been speaking with Kitty from Jump City Comics.
Oh, Jump City Comic Books.
That's right.
Kitty. She owns it with her sister Julie.
That's correct.
And Kitty is actually the wife of my co-host Josh.
That's right.
And where can we find Jump City?
Not at the Pine Street South anymore.
No, because they moved to the 101 Mall Business Complex.
That's right.
This is true. And that is our gratuitous Jump City reference in the podcast.
Indeed. And she had messaged me to let me know that I had more comics arrive at the shop.
Is that true?
That is true. So I said, I'll need to bring a box to get all these comics that just keep coming, because she seems to message me once a week or once every other week. And I said, I will be in Timmins during the expo time. So that's when my next trip up there is.
See, because I could have picked up your comics, but I left town suddenly.
Yes.
Because I had to come.
Well, maybe you can bring them when you come down for Easter.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably could.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's one stop on the way. I mean,
it is. But if I don't, then that's an enticement for you to come during the expo.
Coming regardless.
Oh, regardless.
Regardless.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's a good word there, regardless.
Thank you.
I like that. All right, so let's talk about your Florida stuff so we can wrap up this podcast.
Yes, it's
Florida Man Can?
It's nearing that time, yeah. So let's go into the Florida Man Can, Florida Man headlines of the week.
Let's go on with it and tell me what you got.
Okay, so in Florida this week, naked Florida man caught riding stationary bike in community gym, police say.
Bored Florida man breaks in a funeral home. What he did, I do not know.
Don't want to know. 2 public employees stabbed by Florida man stealing salad.
Florida man dropping off child at school had .233 blood alcohol content, police say.
So what you're telling me is we just read the headlines and we don't talk about it?
Nope.
No value judgments.
That's it.
Sometimes, if there is a headline that really makes us go, what? We'll look into it a little bit further.
Okay.
But other than that, it's just the headlines.
Just a run-through. Okay.
Yeah.
Florida man sentenced to 30 years in prison for birthday sex attempt with a 9 and 11-year-old to celebrate his 35th birthday.
Well, that's gross.
It is very gross.
For the last headline, Florida man kidnapped, killed, dumped on road during a robbery.
And of course,
that's gross.
Yeah, it's sometimes the Florida man headlines aren't very wholesome at all. And
we're going into rated R territory with that one.
Yeah, we were.
I don't even want to talk about that any further. Because
That's fair.
That's gross.
We don't have to talk about it anymore. It's over.
Good. Do we have any more pop culture news?
I got nothing. I really don't. I really
sounded like a vulture.
Yeah, what is that word? What does that sound mean?
What's
it's just vulture cry.
It was different. It was interesting.
So, speaking of vulture, with Spider-Man: Homecoming 2 coming in, I believe, a year, do you think they're going to set the tone for the Fantastic Four, the Sinister Six?
You know, that's been
because 2 of them are in jail, right?
Yeah, but they've been trying to set up the Sinister Six thing for a long time now.
That's hard because that's way too many villains.
It is, and what has Spider-Man movies already been plagued and bogged down with?
Don't even get me started with Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Is too many villains. Now, there was also talk about doing a bunch of spin-off movies introducing those characters. However, you need Spider-Man there at the focal point.
Yeah,
you can't just say here's 6 villains for Spider-Man to.
You could do what Suicide Squad did, and have flashbacks of Spider-Man getting them in trouble. Like
you could, yeah.
They already kind of did that with Shocker and Vulture. They got both arrested because of Spider-Man's, save the day moments.
So what you're saying is we turn Suicide Squad into the Sinister Six.
Yes.
And the Sinister Six, who would they be going after?
Good question.
Kingpin,
played by Vincent D'Onofrio from Daredevil?
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah, so you have that kind of situation where it's like, this guy's a big bad guy, we're bad guys, screw this, we want to be the big bad.
But
it's all in New York.
It is all in New York, but regularly they work for the Kingpin.
But they're tired of being that guy. They want to be above the Kingpin's pay grade. Oh. And then you can have those events, the fallouts, in the Netflix show.
Oh, and connect the universes.
Yeah,
connect the
universes. That's how you do it, man.
I like it. Why aren't you a Hollywood producer there, big guy?
We have the ideas, but the satellites don't pick us up.
That's right. I mean, and it wouldn't even be a terrible idea where you have the Sinister Six involved in that domain, and then you can use the Defenders to fight off the Sinister Six, and then you bring in Spider-Man.
Yeah. See?
And you cap it all off with a big hoop-de-doo,
Mind blown.
Mind blown.
They do it with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with the movies. Why can't they do that with Spider-Man villains and the Kingpin?
See, I don't know about you guys here on the Space Jam, but on the Rusted Robot, the Hollywood bigwigs do not listen to our podcast.
They don't listen to us either.
No, eh? You don't
That's
have them?
why we called fans.
We don't have that type of pull yet.
Oh, what the heck?
We got to wait until we get sued for our name first.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're hoping...
Is that why you named it Space Jam?
No.
It was an acronym.
It's an acronym. So it's not the Space Jam, that you all well know and love with Michael Jordan
from
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, and LeBron James and soon to be.
Yes. But
Are they doing a remake?
Apparently
there's
that's
been
the
talk
plan.
about it for a while, but when
with all that comes the next and final segment in our broadcasting, the Celebrity Deathwing.
Where we announce the celebrity deaths of the week.
Celebrity Deathwing.
Deathwing, yes.
Yeah, so starting off the Deathwing was Dennis Edwards, who was 74, American Hall of Fame soul and R&B singer, The Contours and the Temptations.
I've heard of the Contours and the Temptations, but I have never heard of that guy.
Nope, neither have I.
Same. And this one was interesting because, he's the son of the Cuban dictator.
Fidel Castro.
That's right.
Justin Trudeau's brother.
That's also true. Fidel Castro Diaz-Balart, 68 years old, Cuban nuclear physicist and scientific advisor.
Really?
He was obviously the son of Fidel Castro, and he...
Frigged the Diaz brothers.
And then we have somebody named Rasul Butler, who was 38. He was an American basketball player for the Miami Heat, New Orleans Hornets, and the Los Angeles Clippers.
Then we have Oscar Gamble, going back to Gambit. 68, American baseball player, New York Yankees, Cleveland Indians, and the Philadelphia Phillies.
Leah LaBelle, 31 years old, Canadian-born American singer, made her mark in American Idol.
Oh, very nice. Never
Wrong
heard of her.
Idol.
Oh, I did hear about this one. I did see it on the news. Mark Saling, 35, American actor and musician from the show Glee.
Yes, he actually took his own life.
Yes,
because he was on his way to prison for doing pedophile-like things.
Seriously?
Yes.
Child porn ring. Next month was his court date.
Oh, man.
So he was going to go away for a long damn time.
Oh, yikes.
And
so he took the coward's
He
way
took
out.
the coward's way out, and hey.
Well, I guess you have to do that sometimes.
Guess so.
Gross.
And finally, we have Louis Zorich, 93 years old.
Oh, what did he do?
He was an American actor, and he was in the likes of Mad About You,
I saw
Brooklyn Bridge, The Muppets Take Manhattan.
I watched Mad About You back in the day.
I did as well with
Helen Hunt and Paul Reiser.
That's correct.
And I always thought Helen Hunt and the other Hunt there, I thought they were sisters. But they are not. They are from two different families.
And you know what was interesting about Paul Reiser was he was in the second season of Stranger Things 2.
He was.
And man, does he look old.
He does
compared to,
back in 1986
Paul
when he
Reiser.
was in the Aliens movie directed by James Cameron.
That is correct, sir.
That is correct.
There's a little trivia dropped on you guys. I don't know, check that out, eh? It's like a little bit of connect the dots, if you will.
A little bit. Just a little bit.
Okay, and before we shut her down completely, let's do our sign-offs. And where can everyone reach
He's got
us
one too.
via the socials?
Okay, well, you can find me on Twitter at Darth Vaderloo. You can also find me at Darth Vaderloo on Instagram. Twitter for the podcast, it's at The Rusted Robot. What else can I tell you about that? Look us up on iTunes and Stitcher and TuneIn and everywhere you find your podcasts.
There you go.
We need to get on iTunes.
We do need to get on
I've been
iTunes.
telling you this for 2 years, dude.
You have been. We haven't got there yet.
I mean,
Anyways,
we're on Podbean.
we're on Podbean. And Podbean has an actual app.
I know, I've got it on my phone right here.
I've got it on my phone as well. So you can always find us there, too.
Well, you know what?
It's
Actually,
free.
It is free.
It's all free.
Yes, so you can download the Podbean app and listen to any podcast on there.
That's right.
Or you can actually download the specific Rusted Robot podcast app, Quick Launch, and get little rivet logo on your phone screen.
How about that?
That's what I've done.
How about that?
And then to find me, I'm on Emperor Wit on Twitter and Instagram now. And Wit Charles Finlayson on Facebook. You know, I post all the fun pop culture quotes and things.
Yeah, you do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, and all of our Facebook groups are linked to our podcast pages.
That's right.
So you can find us on Facebook.com/groups, the Space Jam Podcast, the Rusted Robot Podcast, the Soul Forge Podcast. Every podcast you want to find is on Facebook, and if it's not, you shouldn't listen to it.
That's correct.
Yes.
Mundo.
And how do we find you, good sir?
You don't find me. I'm invisible. No, that's a lie. I'm, of course,
We are
on
Venom.
Twitter at Robin Wild and on Instagram at DC Wild. You can find me on Facebook at Rubino Heat. And, of course, like we just said, at Space Jam Podcast. It's all there. It's all good. It's all groovy.
It is groovy.
Now, I don't know exactly your protocol here.
Yeah.
How you do your sign off, but we have one, and I was going to ask Whit here if he had a goodbye for us.
I have a question for both of you.
All right.
Do you have two goodbye for us?
What we do is we thank the listener for downloading and subscribing and listening to the show.
Of course, you have to thank the listener.
We tell them to share the links with all their friends.
You sound like such a dad there. You have to thank the listeners.
Yes, you do. It's important.
It's right.
Because they're what keeps us going.
Exactly.
And so I do all that stuff, and I'll say, stay tuned for the end credits on all the places where to find us and all the good stuff. And then I'll say, and remember, and at that point, I then change up every episode's closing thing, and then we do the end credits, and then there's usually a trailer or an end song, and then Kitty will say, this has been another Valley of Vanderloo podcast production, all rights reserved. This transmission ends now.
That's right.
So I don't know if you have that.
I don't have that,
Okay.
but we have our own little... Sometimes we have bloopers that we will include at the end of ours.
Last week's was humanitarian.
I have done bloopers in the past.
Yeah, bloopers are fun. People enjoy little screw-ups. But, okay. Well, this is what we're going to do. I think this is how we're going to split her down the middle. So we will sign off with ours, and you can sign off with yours.
Oh, I'll just save mine for next time.
Well, you can do that too. I mean, the more the merrier, brother.
I think we should do both.
I think we should do both.
Because you get both endings.
You get both endings.
It's like we're the mid-credits.
Choose your own adventure.
We're the mid-credits. He's the end credits.
That's right.
So I got a question for you, sir. Do you have a goodbye for us?
I do. And just remember, the expert in anything was once a beginner.
So thanks for downloading and subscribing and telling all your friends about all of our podcasts. And remember, making a big life change is pretty scary. But you know what's even scarier?
Regret.
This has been another episode of the Rusted Robot Podcast. You can contact us by emailing therustedrobot@gmail.com or tweeting us at therustedrobot. Visit our website at therustedrobot.podbean.com. And, if you would, please check us out and like us on Facebook. A 5-star review in iTunes is appreciated. The Rusted Robot Podcast was written, produced, scored, edited, engineered, and directed by Sean Vanderloo. Your co-host was Josh Montney. Don't forget to visit Jump City Comics in the 101 Mall and listen to our other show, the Soulforge Podcast. Visit Sean on Twitter and Instagram at Darth Vaderloo.
The Rusted Robot Podcast. Think about it.
This has been a Valley of Vanderloo podcast production, all rights reserved.
This transmission ends now.